God, where do I start? It's been 5 months since my last episode, episode 3, and it's taken almost half a year to collect my thoughts and to want to even do another episode. But I never crossed my mind to not do another episode. Never thought about quitting. Just needed a second to step away and kind of gather my thoughts. I mean, I've been pacing back and forth right now, just trying to think of what I want to cover. Because quite honestly, there's been so much that's happened in this last half a year that I really don't know what to cover, where to begin. But here it is. The wife and I have gone our separate ways, and I guess I'm now a statistic. Based on the previous videos that I've been making, if you've been watching, you'll know that prior to that, for the last year and a half or so, the wife and I had been in a very, very rough spot. We were on a quote-unquote break, according to her. In that time, I was also doing a lot of growing, a lot of self-development, and above all, I was being very patient. I was being very patient for her, for my marriage, for her sake, for my sake, for my kids' sake. And I was going to stick it out for better, for worse, and rich and poor, and sickness and health, and whatever the hell else you say when you're standing up there at the altar. I was going to stick it out with her forever. But the straw that did finally break the camel's back was on June 15th, which happened to be a Friday, Father's Day weekend. And let me tell you, that was just the perfect time for me to finally walk in on her as she was on video chat with her boyfriend that she's had for about a year at that point. And let me tell you, that was a very surreal experience. It was almost out of body like for me. It's feeling a lot of different things, feeling of hurt, betrayal, sadness, anger, and sheer stupidity. Because I'll be honest, my instincts were there. I knew better. I mean, I knew there was a possibility. I'm not a stupid person, you know. She was displaying a lot of the behaviors of somebody that would be messing around on the side, you know, but for many reasons, I was just making myself ignorant to the situation, even to the point where I had already decided that even if she decided to finally just snap out of it and continue on with our marriage, that I was willing to play the part of what I don't know won't hurt me, and we would continue on. But you know what? I'm really glad it happened, because like I said, I was going to stick it out with this girl. I was. Which means I probably would have spent the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, whatever, married in misery. Because that's just how I am. Like I said, I was willing to stick it out, for better or for worse. So, since I didn't have the sense to break it off, even when my best instincts told me to break it off, I guess it was divine intervention coming down and finally throwing it in my face and making me aware of the fact that, hey, all your suspicions that you've had were correct. So I'm not going to really bore you with the details of what happened that night. There was no violence. There was no real big drama or anything that unfolded. It was late at night. Of course, she was drunk, and I finally caught her slipping. And yet, even with this new information, I still stuck it out. I didn't leave. I continued to pay the bills, sleep in a separate bedroom, continued to put her through school. Nothing changed. In fact, the only thing that did change was she was now in a situation or position where she just didn't care at that point. Her attitude was mostly, well, since you've caught me, there's no point in hiding it anymore. And I continued to play along, mostly for my kids. Honestly, I was more brokenhearted at the fact that my kids were no longer going to have mommy and daddy living under the same roof. So for their sake, I didn't change a thing. I continued on with the normal routine. But that doesn't mean I wasn't formulating a new plan. And what was this new plan I was formulating? I'll tell you, I had no freaking idea. But let me just paint a picture for you. Imagine being in my shoes, trying to stay in control, trying to come up with a course of action, yet you're still tolerating bad behavior from your significant other. If anything, the behavior had gotten worse. Still have to put a smile on for the kids. Still watching her take her trips down to see her dude on your dime and go to work, etc., etc., etc. Now, this isn't me trying to drum up a pity party, and in no way am I saying I'm a total victim or anything like that. What I am saying is I'm fucking glad it happened. And I'm glad I had to go through all that, because it taught me something about myself. Actually, it taught me a lot about myself. Looking back on it now, I realized the situation I was in showed me that I had levels of control and discipline and drive and determination that I hadn't seen since my days in the Marine Corps. And I am damn proud of myself that I didn't let that situation destroy me. I was told many times by friends and colleagues that they were very proud of me because there's no way they would have been able to handle the situation I was in as well as I was handling it. And I must give credit to all those people that I just mentioned. Friends, colleagues, co-workers, family. These key individuals have helped me in many ways. Everything from advice and being an ear, a friendly ear to listen to my venting, to those that came over and helped me pack all my shit and move out on a weekend that she wasn't around. I can't stress how important it is to surround yourself with good people, truly good people that you can count on. Building a tribe as a man is one of the most important things you can do. Rogue warriors can only get so far in life. But when you have a strong tribe, you're unbeatable. Whether in life or in business, you're unbeatable. But I must give credit to the man above, for his plan is perfect. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I know now that everything that I've gone through in my life, even recent events, were not designed to destroy me, but they were designed to grow me. And grow me they have. The greatest teacher you can have is the lessons you learn from pain and suffering. So what does this mean for me? To be honest, I don't know yet. But there is a ton of light at the end of this tunnel. The positive attitude and the mindset and the confidence that I've developed here recently seem to have influenced changes in the universe in my favor. Things all around seem to be falling into place for me. And although I'm still in a struggle with a divorce process and a custody battle, it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm truly grateful that this happened to me. I am living alone again in my own place, and I get my kids half the time. And to tell you the truth, they'd rather be with me than with her. But I never fill their head with any kind of crap. To them, I still refer to their mom as mommy. When I speak of her on the rare occasion, and I try not to, but when I do, it's always in a positive light for their benefit and for my own. Part of my healing process is to begin letting go. And part of letting go is to not hold any resentment or hate, especially since she did me the favor, and I mean that. And it feels great to say that I actually mean it, and it's not just empty words. I come home every day to peace and quiet, to a clean house, to my controlled situation, a schedule, a routine, and all those projects in the garage that I've been trying to get to for years are all in some stage of completion. And I have totally forgotten how good and how therapeutic it is to turn a wrench. But at the same time, I don't want to give anybody the impression that I don't give a shit. I still love the woman. She's the mother of my children, and I probably always will love her. And because I am a good man, and for the sake of my children, I will never let her end up in the street, and her safety will always be a concern of mine. Well, I say that now. You never know. Shit happens. But that being said, it doesn't mean that I'll ever get back with her. If there was a scenario which she would come back, or there was an opportunity for us to ever get back together, I highly doubt it. And it's not that I don't love her, but it's because now I respect myself too much. I could not look myself in the mirror if I were to ever get back with her. There were lines that were crossed and disrespect that happened, and it would be a huge disrespect to myself if I were to ever allow her back into my life. Let's not forget that I love my situation that I'm currently in. The last time I felt this was just before my wife and I began dating. My wife was actually the rebound from my ex-wife, if you can believe that. My ex-wife and I were only separated for 3 months before my current wife and I began dating, which was very unhealthy. But in those 3 months, I remember I had the same situation as I do now. I went to work, I had my routine, I was budgeted, I had control of my existence. But at the time I had codependency issues, and the rest is obviously history. But for the longest time I have thought back to those precious 3 months that I was on my own and how much I missed those 3 months. For the longest time I fantasized about those 3 months. And now, well, I'm there again. And this time, I'm not letting that go. Quite honestly, I have no desire to date. I have no desire to be with another woman. It's not that I don't find women attractive or anything like that, but this is a selfish time for me. And I am more drawn and more in love with what I have now. And who knows, in the future, there may be another. But understand this, and this is honest, with the lessons I have learned and the experiences I've had in this marriage, the next one, if there is a next one, shit's gonna be completely different. I will never again sacrifice who I am and my peace for another person ever again. There were many red flags that I ignored when my current wife and I began dating. I knew those red flags were there, but I chose to ignore them at the time because I was just so goo-goo, head over heels in love. So I thought with this new girl that was making me feel all special inside. Instinct. Your instincts. They help you identify those red flags. They warn you of danger. They warn you of things to be cautious of. And I will never ignore my instincts again. No more red flags. Moral of the story, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back, and I'm very busy these days, but I'm going to do my very best to continue on with these videos. Because now more than ever, boy do I have a lot of content to share. And for anybody that's going through a similar situation, especially for those that are not handling things as well as I am, it's going to be all right. I promise you that. In life, there's always highs and lows. And I know things may seem like doom and gloom, and I know there may not seem to be any kind of light at the end of the tunnel, or it may seem like all hope is lost. But believe me, it's not. I'm coming off a 10-year relationship, 7 years married, hundreds of thousands of dollars invested, 2 children who I love very much, 2 older stepchildren from her. I had a lot of skin in this game, and it all came crashing down. But in no way has it defeated me, for I see it as a blessing in disguise, because it is. Sometimes you have to break some eggs and make a good omelet, but all kidding aside, I promise you it's going to be okay. It does help that I pray every day, or at least I try to, but I've gotten much closer to the man above. My faith has gotten stronger in these last year and a half or so, has gotten much, much stronger. And on days where I'm not feeling my greatest, I always look to the Lord for some strength and some support, and it always comes in some form or fashion. And there are times where I am fatigued. It's okay to be fatigued, but I am never beaten. And just like those years in the Marine Corps where I would be running and running until I was throwing up, I was immensely fatigued, but I would always catch that second wind and that second stride. And in life now, yeah, I'm a little fatigued, but guess what? I just caught my second wind, and I'm ready for more. So bring it on.